Like condom offer strong protection against the organisms like chlamydia and Neisseria gonorrhoeae, but it provides partial protection against the HSV and HPV infection. While OCP are associated with lower risk of PID, but they does not decrease the risk of chlamydia, Neisseria and candida infection. High estrogen OCPs are related to the more chances of cervical dysplasia. So far, condom is the best way to protect the STDs, but sadly in developing countries, use of condom is reported. Educational and socio-economic status is also important because it affects due to lack of general awareness and paucity of healthcare access to the healthcare facilities. Why predicting Indian scenario is difficult? Because India is a vast country geographically and population-wise. So there epidemiological diversity exists in this country because of many reasons, like there is no set standard for laboratory in the form of sampling technique or in the form of reporting. Like in syphilis, some area report all RPR positive cases or VDR positive cases, while other area only report the cases confirmed by the TPHA. Likewise, other diagnostic method variability also exists in case of other pathogen like chlamydia. So, close review of epidemiology highlights following aspect that data regarding STI prevalence in men are lacking. Most of the studies are done on females, especially in facility or community-based environment. There is a wide variation in reporting procedure. Like some area shows high prevalence of syphilis in females because antenatal monitoring is not proper in certain area. Little research is done in case of viral STDs, cervical. There is no data regarding the different type of cervical dysplasia, and there are remarkably few data available which shows the trend of STI with time. So due to above all reasons, chances of selection of phase appropriate strategy by the policy makers and program managers is very limited. They can present in asymptomatic form. 90% infection are asymptomatic, but they are important because they can transmit disease to healthy individuals. They can present as acute STD like local discharge, pain, urinary symptoms, fever. They can present as dysmenorrhea and menorrhagia in female. They can present as lymphadenitis. They can present as local genital symptoms like local rash, papule, vesicles, ulcers. They can present as chronic STDs and recurrent episode of acute episodes in some patients. So how can we involve adolescent in prevention? Adolescent can be involved in prevention of disease by proper education, and they should be encouraged regarding the delayed onset of sexual activity, avoiding high-risk partner. They should advise to limit the total number of partner. And they should be encouraged. They should be encouraged to limit the number of partners. They should educate regarding the proper use of contraceptive method. They should educate regarding the sign and symptom of RTIs and STIs, and encourage to seek the medical attention whenever required. So prevention of STI in adolescence. One is through proper education and counseling. Second is helping skill model. This increases the compliance of patient, in which clinician states the problem, identify option for the patients, and identify and elaborate consequences of each option. And finally, he helps the patient to make a proper plan for treatment and follow-up. Immunization can prevent certain diseases like hepatitis B and HPV virus. Contraception and use of condoms can prevent the infection. In certain cases, male circumcision reduce the risk of STDs and HIV transmission. Screening is very important. Screening should be done annually with the examination of reproductive organs. So what is done at the level of government for adolescent sexual health? It was started with National Youth Policy 2003. In this age group, 13 to 19 years was considered as a distinct age group which should be covered in all sectors including sexual health. After that, our adolescent reproductive and sexual health program was developed and incorporated in NRHM. It is approved as a part of RCS2, and this strategy is now implemented at the grassroots level with the help of PSC. Youth-friendly STI services are started. The key characteristic of these services at the user level, they should be accessible and acceptable. Services should be convenient according to the time and should be confidential. At the level of provider, they should be appropriate, they should be comprehensive, they should be effective, they should bring positive change in the health status of adolescent. They should be cost effective, and provider should be provider should have special training, should be non-judgmental, and should provide privacy during the examination. And finally and most importantly, they should be equitable. They should be provided to all adolescents who need them, including poor, vulnerable, marginalized and difficult to reach group. So you all know about the syndromic management. This was started to reduce the burden of disease. In this, diagnosis is based mainly on identification of syndrome, and treatment is given to diseases that can cause that syndrome. Now these are kits which can be used in syndromic management. And finally, the ideal line of action is prevention through the extensive counseling and educational program. Educational program should be done at high school level, college level and community level. Partner tracing and partner treatment is an essential component, and this should be implemented to reduce the burden of disease. Thank you.
और ये बिहेवियर उनको वल्नरेबल बनाता है बहुत सारे इन्फेक्शंस के लिए, प्रेगनेंसी के लिए, और इसके ऊपर लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस अबाउट सेक्सुअल हेल्थ जो कि एक स्टिग्मा है। जैसा अभी सर ने बताया, ARSS प्रोग्राम चालू किया था, बट कुछ स्टिग्मा की वजह से वो प्रोग्रेस नहीं कर पाया, और 2013 में राष्ट्रीय किशोर स्वास्थ्य कार्यक्रम के तहत आज हम किशोर स्वास्थ्य में बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, और राजस्थान को उजाला क्लिनिक के रूप में किशोर स्वास्थ्य में एक मिसाल बन गया है। और यदि अपन बात करें कि सोशल मीडिया एक्सपोजर के इस युग के अंदर इन किशोर बच्चियों को एक अच्छा सेक्सुअल हेल्थ देने के लिए सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत है, सबसे ज्यादा नीड है अवेयरनेस अबाउट सेक्सुअल हेल्थ,
इट्स हेल्थ implication on mother, child and society. Now, adolescent health is a very important public health problem, not only in developing countries but also in developed countries. And we can see that the extremes of age, both elderly gravida and young gravida, are considered as high risk pregnancy. And these adolescents carries extra stress because of the physical and the mental changes associated with pregnancy. If we see that about 16 million girls aged 15 to 19 years give birth annually, and 90% of them are in the developing countries. And worldwide, every 5th child is born to teenage mother, and it accounts for 23% of the overall burden of disease, that is disability adjusted life years. And if we see this problem globally, we see that it is highest in the countries in sub-Saharan Africa, and is lowest in the Europe and North America. In developing countries, teenage pregnancy rate was as high as 133 births per 1,000 females. And India has the highest number of child marriage and the early marriage, and hence we have more cases of adolescent pregnancy, and it constitutes about 11% of the world's teenage pregnancies occurs in India. And the incidence is about 16%. The highest is in Jharkhand, followed by West Bengal and Bihar, both of which are in eastern India, and they have the greatest percentage of this group of teenage pregnancy. 75% of these pregnancies are intended pregnancies because of early marriage, and the remaining are unintended pregnancies. Smaller but very significant number of pregnancy occurs due to non-consensual sex, and that is rape. Adolescent pregnancy has negative impact on all the three aspects of this group, and that is the health of the adolescent and their infants. And these infants, the newborns, were sick, and usually the problem runs chronic, and this is the reason of fetal origin of adulthood disease. It also has impact on the social and economical status and societal level impact. So what are the medical implications associated with these teenage pregnancy? And we see there's a list, and it is anemia, abortion, lack of antenatal care. Only 7% of women, these girls, come to the hospital for the antenatal care, and they remain at home and reach to our hospital in a moribund condition and very late in 3rd trimester. So let's discuss about the obstetrical complications of pregnancies, and these are the hypertensive disorders of pregnancies, obstructed labor, puerperal sepsis, operative deliveries, rupture uterus, hemorrhage, prematurity, and IUGR. And as we have seen that anemia is very common in this group, and usually these girls, when they become pregnant, they are really high risk group, and it has been found that 40% increased risk of anemia in mothers in less than 16 years of age compared to the mothers in 20 to 24. And 56% of adolescent girls are anemic in our country. Maternal mortality rate is high in adolescent pregnancy with 380 to 645 per 100,000 live births for girls between 15 to 19 years compared to 250 to 342 per 100,000 live births in the women aged 20 to 34 years. There's a big question whether are these girls are inherited because of their young age to have increased mortality, or it is because of their lack of education and lack of antenatal care and other socio-economical status that leads to increased maternal mortality. It is debatable. Another important cause of morbidity and mortality is hypertensive disorders, which have been found to be increased, that is 11.5% increase in these girls as compared to the normal incidence of 6.06%. And here you can see the pictures of the young girls reaching to our hospital in terminals, in late trimester with convulsions, with multiple tongue bites. And the picture on the left side can see that the girl is also anemic. So she's having so many features associated with complications of adolescent pregnancy. Teenage girls have high medical termination rate of approximately 9.15% compared to 5.07% in overall population, and it executes 14% of estimated 20 million unsafe abortions, of which resulting in 68,000 fatalities. Repeated abortions, even in qualified hands, can lead to increased reproductive morbidity. And here this girl, she resorted to a quack to get her pregnancy terminated at 5 months, and you can see she was 18-year-old and the uterus was all perforated, the sigmoid column was pulled out and the fetus was lying in the abdominal cavity. Ultimately, we had to do her hysterectomy, colostomy. Her future reproductive life was totally destroyed and she remained in ICU for almost 1.5 months. Unsafe abortion is again a very important cause of maternal mortality, and 36.9% of maternal deaths occurred in this particular group, and we are still getting patients who are coming to our hospital with the bowel hanging from vagina and multiple perforations and uterine and bowel perforations. Then because of the pelvis is not fully developed, these girls usually land up in prolonged labor and obstructed labor, and this is how the patient presents to us. There is hematoma, there is rupture of the uterus on the second slide, and the baby is all having capital molding, and so we can see how the morbidity increases with this group. Hemorrhage as such, prolonged labor and hypotonia, again there is a risk of PPH. Psychological implication, very important, it is one of the most common cause of postpartum depression, and if continuous having so many children, there is sibling rivalry also. Increased risk of STD has already been discussed. There is drugs abuses and misuse, and as far as neonates are concerned, they are more premature, more they have higher risk of mortality. And stillbirth rate is 50% higher among babies born to adolescent mother than among babies born to mother in their 20s. And these have 7 to 16 times increased perinatal mortality, 2.5 18 times neonatal mortality, and 2.2 times late neonatal mortality compared to older gravida. And here you can see the picture of the baby. The mother has put her lipstick on the baby on the very second day of the birth, and which chemical is being used, how she has applied it, we can see it. And social consequences are there, and they experience poverty, the children experience health and developmental problems, and the child marriage also reduces earning by estimated 19%. So it is a vicious cycle: poverty, too early pregnancy, loss of education, and so the overall consequences are they are underfed and undervalued, and the weak gets weaker, and there are fewer skills and opportunities for employment, and often chronic energy deficiency. This you can see in this particular field. They have high risk fertility pattern, gets pregnant very soon within 24 months, and repeated birth intervals. You can see this girl is having 5 children, the 5th one was out with the father. And unhealthy mother begets unhealthy children, and this is again the Saas, Bahu, both delivering at the same time, and this pattern is it is a recipe of disaster for maternal and child health and social. And so reducing this is very important, as it should be linked with prevent this HIV, and it is important to develop and implement specific policies and rights of adolescents to continue their education, and whether they are pregnant or whether they are parenting. So take home message is adolescent pregnancy is a serious medical and health problem, and at-risk pregnancy due to its high-risk pregnancy because of association with various adverse maternal and fetal outcome, which results in increased mortality and morbidity in both mother and child, and it is imperative to take steps to reduce teenage pregnancy. Thank you for kind attention.
Thank you, ma'am. Developing world, 90% of the adolescent pregnancies are contributed by the developing world. In India also, ma'am told that 11% of the total pregnancies are in adolescents. So as told by the ma'am that health is also affected, as well as socio-economic status and social aspects are also affected due to adolescent pregnancy. So it's an important issue, and among health issues, prematurity, hypertensive disorders, developmental delay, both neonatal and maternal mortality rates are increased in adolescents, and reason is being that anemia and other prevailing conditions are very common in case of adolescent health. So it affects ultimately the early pregnancy leads to less education in the children, and it leads ultimately to the poverty, and a vicious cycle starts. That teenage pregnancy leads to lack of employment and education, which again leads to poverty and again teenage pregnancy. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I had to be very fast because of the shortage of time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir.